Today I'm really excited because the Merf Mute Gumby Cup Mute has finally come in. And I'm really excited to try this out. I've been a really big fan of their straight mute and their metal bottom straight mutes, especially. You can see that and that right behind me. They've been kind of my go to for a while now for tenor and bass for straight mutes and bass straight mutes. This one is all 3D printed plastic. It came in a really fun color. When they first put it out, I saw this one option for tuxedo mute, black and white, and it was in limited edition, so I had to try it. So I think it might be like a one of one color. But they also make them in fun colors like the electric blue and like a grape color and a vanilla color, which I think is just this color for the whole thing. Anyway, enough about the colors. Let's hear it first, and then we'll talk a little bit more about those fun options. Here's a little bit of Tomasi second movement. Alright, so those are pretty literally my first notes ever on this mute. Already I can feel that, like with the other Merf mutes, I can feel like I can just trust it. This feels like it's going to be a really nice option. Let's talk a little bit about what the mute looks like and what I notice on first observations. Um, One, it has this really nice kind of like textured matte finish, which will be good so when you put it down, it just doesn't slip and slide all over the place. Two is that it's very flexible. It's got that Merf thing where you can just kind of like, if it bends like this, it'll be okay. It'll just bend right back into shape. And the other great thing about these mutes is if you drop them, you barely hear anything, unlike a traditional metal mute or even a fiber mute. They're very forgiving. The first design thing that sticks out is it has 4 corks. A lot of mutes have 3. This one has 4. You kind of see it. You can see them all at once like this. Yeah. And you can see that there's kind of these like channels, right, going down. You can see it here. You kind of see it again in the profile. It's kind of squared up at the top a little bit more, going into a rounder feature, which I assume allows for extra stability and grip in the bell. Like that stays in very nicely and still allows for enough sound to escape to really let the cup do a lot of the work. Now, my first thing with cup mutes is, does it have a low register? Especially, can it go down into low E? The cup mute I normally use, Dennis Wick cup mute, I use it because the low E works. Let's see how the Merf mute sounds in the low register. Merf mute sounds fantastic in the low register. I can already kind of feel like this is probably going to be my go-to pretty soon. Let's try the pedal tones, because again, pedal tones and mutes usually don't mix well. We have all the way down the pedal C with minimal resistance. This definitely has the least resistance of any cup mute I've played in that register. So, oops, I actually just knocked off another mute I'm going to show in a second. No dead spots. The air does kind of come in and out a little bit, but it's a lot less noticeable. Let's check out high register. Very even through the registers. The bottom still has like the smallest bit of wobble, but so much less than what I'm used to for this. Um, Ease for taking in and out. It fits very comfortably in the hand. This being flexible, actually, I think prevents it from getting more in the way. There's a lot of gap here, so like I can fit my whole thumb in between, which I actually think will make quick changes even easier, because you don't have to worry about like grabbing the whole thing here or like getting your thumb stuck in between. If I can demonstrate really quickly, when you have a tighter cup like these Wicks, like your thumb can get kind of stuck in the middle, or if you have to do it like this, there's like, if you have small hands or like you don't put like grippy tape on it to help, it can actually be more likely to get lost in a quick mute change. I think being able to grab it off a stand here to do a quick mute change will be a lot better than it is with the Wick. The Wick mute, maybe has a little bit more of a metallic sound, but it's one of the only mutes I've seen that really centers in the low range. So it gets the sound, but I'm definitely feeling more effort than I am with the Merf mute. The other cup mute I use a lot is the Trumcor, which has an adjustable cup mute on it. I've always liked the sound of this being a little bit less metallic than the Wick and a little bit more adjustable. But now that I'm comparing that to the Merf mute, let's go back and try that. I'm liking the warmer sound of the Merf mute. Sometimes I feel like the Trumcor maybe sounds a bit too much. Excuse me, knocking stuff over still. Like a straight mute. And I feel like that fiber Trumcor maybe matches that sound a little too closely. Not exactly, but that nasal quality is something I don't always like with my cup mutes. So let's compare it again to the Merf. To my ears, it's just like a little bit more vocal, a little bit rounder. Let's compare that to the Wick, like the metal cup mute. Again, like this has its place. I'll probably switch between using the Merf and the metal mute depending on if I really need that kind of more metallic sound. And finally, also for a comparison, I know we're going kind of quick here, but let's compare the old Stoneline mute, which again is like another one where, well, this one the corks are pretty wound down, but yeah, sometimes I like the old Stoneline sound the best. But I think that they're very breakable. They're fragile. I got to be careful when I use it. To have something like this where I don't really have to worry about it, will be a really nice change of pace. The Merf Mutes also have their screw system. So right now, you can see right there, there's kind of this plastic screw in it. If I remove it, it'll probably give me a little bit of a different sound. And that's a really nice feature about the Merf Mutes. They're all customizable with their sets of screws. Let's see what it's like without the screw. That's actually actually kind of nice. That like splits the difference between the metal and this to me. And that kind of customizable option to it is really great. I'm really curious. I'm going to quick grab this screw set for a second. I want to try it with one of the metal screws because I have a feeling that it's going to also make a difference. Okay. So here we have the Merf Mutes screws, which are available for anyone. Maybe it's in the box. I didn't really check the box, but I've had this entire set before, so different screws are going to give different sounds. We kind of have this, you know, different thickness of metal, different materials, like a gold one. And then there's like a wider flat one that I usually use in my straight mute. I have a feeling that instead of the plastic one, I'm going to either go with this bigger but plastic, so it's still pretty light. I'm going to try that out in the mute first, just by intuition. And again, it's a really quick and easy conversion. It just takes a couple of seconds to kind of put a new screw in there. So now we have this instead of the plastic one that came with it. And let's see how that changes the sound quickly. So to me, that's actually starting to sound a lot more like the Trumcor mute, like the adjustable lyric straight mute. If I open this up a little bit, I think it would be even closer. So let's do that because of the adjustable nature of the Trumcor. So that's with like a super open Trumcor. And again with the Merf. Very similar sound to me, but like easier to access stability and core on the Merf, which is nice. And then the other one I was really interested in trying, just off of intuition, wasn't the larger plastic black screw, but the gold screw. Kind of have, I think it's bronze. Merf will be able to answer that, or you'll be able to find that information on their website. To me, it doesn't really matter what the material is. It kind of matters more of what the result is, because I'm the consumer, not the producer. All right, but now we have the gold screw in there, and let's see what that is like. Honestly, not much of a difference, but still a nice option to have. So far, I'm feeling like I like it best when it's open. And then I kind of like this gold screw, and then the black plastic screw, and then the clear plastic screw. Again, we're talking about very subtle differences here. But let's try one more for fun. Let's try this kind of lightweight metal screw. Oops, dropped it, but the cup catches it. Another nice feature. You don't have to worry about things dropping on the floor for whatever reason. Okay, so now we have the larger metal screw in there. Hey, I like that. The feel to me is a lot more secure. Probably the most secure feel of the screws we've tried so far. And, you know, since I wasn't expecting to use that or try it, let's go with the last screw that I have without taking stuff apart, which is kind of this has like a bulb on top. It's a little bit heavier, has this extra rivet on the screw near the head of it, which I think prevents it from going all the way down. Let's give that a try. So this one has some like built-in space on it and just a little bit different of a screw. Yeah, you can see, well, maybe, I hope you can see that it kind of sticks out a little bit more than the other ones. Okay. Feels very strong. In fact, I actually overshot the high notes because I'm kind of used to compensating for a cup mute being harder to blow through. So, a lot of options. That's one of the fun things about the Merf Mute system. It may seem silly that like this little screw on like this big mute, you know, when we look at the sizes, it seems like how much of a difference could it make? Turns out it makes kind of a big difference. I think I like this larger metal screw. That one kind of surprised me. The last one I tried, the one that doesn't go all the way in, also had a really nice kind of core and resonance to it. But I want to try out that high part again on this other screw. Yeah, very nice. So, Merf Mute, tuxedo color. I don't know if you get this color anymore. Sorry. But the mutes will be great no matter what color you pick. This will probably be my new go-to mute, especially for touring. And I'll probably bring the complete screw set with me because that adaptability, it might not register as like a ton of difference on like, you know, cell phone recording, but really the difference between all these as like a player, like the plastic one, the gold one, the one I have in, all these things can be really quite big for feedback purposes and projection purposes. So, in the end, in the past I've used Trumcor, I've used the traditional Stoneline, which I find to be kind of fragile and like I'm always worried this thing is going to break. Trumcor also gets like a little beat up, like this little stuff around the edges doesn't always look the best. Even if I like the adjustable nature for it, it just kind of looks sometimes a little clunky. And just fiber mutes tend to break on tour also because they're just not as strong. I've used the Wick mute because it's the one that has a really good low E for me. But I've always been kind of like, I don't like getting my thumb trapped when I try to make a quick mute change. And I don't always like gripping it like this without the tape, and then the tape adds a whole different aesthetic dimension to it. So for those reasons, I think I will start to use this Merf Mute. It won't break as much, really easy to put in and take out, and a really good sound. So I'm going to enjoy using this. I think they made a great product, and if you're in the market for a new cup mute or you want to try out something new and interesting, definitely give it a try. All right, thanks.